Hey everyone, this time on Tim Talks Audio, we're checking out the latest plugin from Modern Metal SongWriter. This is NovaClip. Modern Metal SongWriter is a group of metal songwriters, and we've worked with them before checking out the Clairvoyant amp sim, and that thing was killer and it spread all over the heavy music industry. But it's not just a straightforward clipper where you just put it on, dial it in, and on you go. There's actually more controls to this clipper that allows you to adjust some settings and really dial things in. So with that, let's dive into the DAW and take a look at NovaClip. This plugin was sent over by the manufacturer for this review, so consider this a sponsored video, but all of the opinions from this point forward are my own. Okay, so here we go. This is Modern Metal SongWriter's NovaClip. If you've seen these plugin videos before, you know there's chapters down below if you want to jump ahead to the audio examples. But right now we're going to get into all of the controls and what they do and a quick once-over. So let's just jump right into it with the three largest controls on here: shape, clip, and ceiling. And of course, we have to start with clip. Clip is, think of it like setting the threshold on a compressor. This allows you to adjust the point of the clipping of the signal coming in. This is the good kind of clipping, something you can do inside the machine before it goes out to your D to A converters and gets that nasty digital clipping that nobody wants to hear, the square waving. This actually allows you to knock off some of the transients of whatever you're putting the clipper on, whether it's your drum bus, something else, maybe even your mix bus. This allows you to kind of even off some of those transients and those spikes. You clip off the top of them. A very common thing is put a clipper to just lob off the transients on your masters and then put the limiter after. You could do the other way too. They definitely have different sounds. If you want to know more about that, check out the other video that's going to be linked down in the description or in the top right-hand corner right now. So yeah, clipping, this adjusts, and you can see it on the user interface up here. It's like setting the threshold, and it goes from 0 all the way up to 1. Arbitrary numbers, don't worry about it. This is essentially like setting your threshold. Ceiling is adjusting the output of the clipper. So you can see it starts at 0 and just rolls back. So you can do a negative 100 dB, or really just mute the output of the clipper. But if you want to make sure that you don't have anything going over a certain level, well, let's say you want this to be -1. Cool. Now it's basically like a limiter saying nothing will go past -1. And then from ceiling, we head over to shape. Now, shape is not adjusting the input. I don't want you to get confused because we went to ceiling, which is the output. Shape adjusts the curve and the slope of the clipping algorithm. So right now, all the way to the left at 0, it's more of a hard clipping. This really kind of reduces those transients and adds punch. But if you want to kind of round things off and still do a little bit of clipping, you want a soft clipper. And here you can adjust shape all the way up. And now the response and the curve of the clipper is gentler. So you have that flexibility of going from a hard clipper to more soft clipping. So the next time you're trying, adjust with the shape, and maybe you want something more rounder. So you want a soft clip, or you're working with drums and you know you just want to chop them off, hard clip, all the way hard clip. Now let's go to the three smaller controls and the one button. So the Delta button you may have seen on other plugins. This allows you to only listen to essentially the detector circuit, or what is happening to the audio going through the clipper. So for this, you're just hearing what's getting chopped off. Turn it off, and you're hearing the processed full signal. Then of course, down here, you have your mix control. This is pretty straightforward, parallel processing right inside the plugin. Of course, it starts by default all the way 100% wet. You can drop this down to 0%, and then it's only dry. Or if you want to do some in-plugin parallel processing, adjust this as you need. Then on the other side of clip, in a very similar kind of control, is THD, Total Harmonic Distortion. This allows you to add in some distortion or some saturation to whatever you have going through the process. And you'll notice when I click and hold on this control and adjust it, it's actually simulating voltage, as if you're driving too much voltage into an analog piece of hardware. So watch this. If we start here, you can see 0 volts. But as we increase, we're now driving more into this unit and we'll get that distortion. Then in the top right, you have crossover. This is a low pass filter. So you can start to bring this up, and whatever is underneath this crossover will not go through the clipper circuit and retain that low end information. So if you want to make sure that your low ends doesn't get clipped and possibly distorted, then increase your crossover as you're doing your clipping to retain that low end information and only adjust and affect the top end above your crossover. And this goes all the way up to 700 Hertz. Then very quickly, we'll go across top, preset browser, save your preset or overwrite your preset with the save as. Change the meters. You can have the meters set to RMS or LUFS. Auto gain on or off. What do you want? You want some oversampling? Cool, that's built right in, up to 16 times. Undo, redo, A side, B side, and changing the UI size. And there it is. That's all of the controls. If you needed more information on anything, hit the question mark. But now let's get into the audio examples. Let's dial something in. And what we're going to work on is our drum bus, because actually with this song, it was only sent to me as a stereo drum file to mix. And sometimes that happens. You just roll forward with what you got. All right, so before we start clipping these drums, let's take a listen to them. I'm actually just going to solo it out real fast. And now let's listen to our raw drums. Okay, that's our starting point. Now we're just gonna hit play and we're gonna dial something in. And this is actually just the default instance. We'll dial something in and we'll compare it to the other version of this plugin that I was messing with earlier and see what we come up with. So ignore these settings. You didn't see that. Let's do it right now. Let's dial something in. Okay, so that's just very quickly dialing something in, pushing some of these things a bit further than you normally would, and I'm doing that for you guys so you can see what these controls are doing and how they sound. Obviously, you probably wouldn't go all the way to 10 with the harmonic distortion. Then again, maybe you have a reason to. I wanted to show you what these controls do. Now let's actually compare this one with the one I did earlier. So we'll move this guy over here just above me and we'll open up the older instance. And it's very, very similar. I did use the crossover. The only actual difference is the clip I pushed into the new version, or the new instance, I should say, just a little bit harder. So there you go, that's NovaClip. If you want to pick up your copy of NovaClip, use the link down in the description, and it's available right now. That's all for now. If you found anything informative, please like and share the video. You want to talk more plugins? Jump in the Discord. There's a link down below. I'd love to work with you on your next project, so let's get that started over at timflansbaum.com. And if you have a question, ask it in the comments and I'll answer it in a future video. Thanks for watching.